Hey everyone, so to this point in the season, it's no secret now that the Edmonton Oilers have been one of the NHL's biggest disappointments and really have been surprisingly bad to this point in the year. And so I want to evaluate their start to the season, really kind of analyze why this is happening in Edmonton and why they've gotten off to such a bad start. So, Edmonton, they're 5-8-1 right now. With 11 points, and that's good for 14th in the Western Conference. Yes, they are second to last in the West. A team that was supposed to be a Stanley Cup contender and potentially win the West is second to last. So far this season, they've scored 2.28 goals per game and have given up 3.14 goals against per game. So that's 32 goals for in 14 games and 44 goals against. So when any team really struggles the way that Edmonton has, the first place everyone looks, and a really important place to look, is goaltending. Now, I'm not even going to count Laurent Brossoit as the backup because he's only started one game, so he really hasn't been that much of a factor. Cam Talbot, franchise goaltender, supposed to be, one of the best goalies in the league and leading the way for the Oilers. Talbot is 5-7-1 with a 2.99 goals against average and a .909 save percentage. So, not atrocious from Talbot, not Carey Price bad, but nowhere near where he needs to be for this team and nowhere near where he needs to play going in for the rest of this season. A goals against average of almost 3 is not going to cut it. He needs to be down in the 2.2 range. Right now, he is not playing very well. He's not getting a ton of help in front of him, which obviously doesn't help, but he needs to really play a lot better, and he is a big reason for the Oilers' rough start. Goaltending plays a huge role. It's the most important position on any team in hockey, and it plays a huge role in wins and losses and how the team does. You live and die with goaltending. Talbot has not been good so far this season. He needs to get better. If he gets better, Edmonton's going to get better. Now, it's not all on the goaltender. Other players, the players in front of him need to play. The defense needs to play defense. The scorers need to score. Everyone plays a role in it. Goaltending is important, but it's not everything. Connor McDavid, you cannot put any of this on Connor McDavid. He's your star player, so he's the next place people are going to turn, be like looking for why this is happening. It is not because of Connor McDavid. 14 games played, 17 points. He's well on his way to another 100-point season. He's also +4, so he's not out there for goals against. This is not on McDavid really at all. None of this can be put on him. He is playing at a very high level, just as good as you would have expected from him. It's not him. 6 goals, 11 assists. He's doing all he can for this team. Hockey is a team sport. It's not like basketball, where one player can just take over the game and score all the points and do pretty much everything for the team. You're out there for like 45-second shifts and then you cycle through the lines again. One player can only do so much. McDavid is doing everything he can. Other players need to step up. High up on that list of other players that need to step up is Milan Lucic. 14 games played. He only has 7 points, 2 goals, 5 assists, and is -1. Lucic has been a huge disappointment this year. For the money he's making and the contract that they gave him, he needs to be a point-producing player as well as a physical presence and an impactful, physical player. He is not putting up points at the rate that he needs to. He should have at least 10 points by now, probably at least 5 goals, and he doesn't. Only 2 goals this season. his play has kind of been diminishing over the last few years, and it's continuing, which means this contract the Oilers gave him could end up being very, very bad, especially a few years down the road. He has not been the impactful player that they need him to be. He's a veteran leader. He's been around this league for a long time now. He should have no problem being a 50 to 60 point player, and so far this year he's on pace for about 40 points. That's not going to cut it from one of your better players. He needs to really get going and step it up. New addition Ryan Strome. They traded Jordan Eberle to the New York Islanders for Ryan Strome. Strome, really highly touted prospect, was supposed to be really, really good. Didn't do as well as people hoped in New York. Edmonton really hoped that a change of scenery would get him going and get things going for him. 14 games played, only 5 points. This has been disastrous for Strome. He's just as bad in Edmonton as he was in New York. Not looking good for him. He could go down as a pretty big bust because he is not becoming the player that people thought he would. Only 2 goals, 3 assists to this point, and -4. Not at all what Edmonton was expecting or hoping from this kid. They were hoping he would be, not a point per game player. I don't think he's to that level yet, but they were hoping that he could put up, 50 points this season. I don't see that happening at this point. And it's also not just the forwards. Defense plays a part in it too. Edmonton's 2 best defensemen have not been their 2 best defensemen. Adam Larson, to this point, only 3 points in 14 games. I know he's not an offensive defenseman. He's more of a shutdown type guy, but not good with only 3 points to this point. Also -2. He needs to get going. He needs to start making better plays, playing better in his own end, and putting up some point production. And Oscar Klefbom, their other top defenseman, also only 3 points in 14 games played. He's more of an offensive guy. His numbers are not even close to what they should be. He's -6 already on the year. This team is not. This is why they're not doing well, because they have major players not playing up to potential. So really, in closing, their goaltending needs to get better. Their top defensemen need to play better. Connor McDavid's supporting cast needs to play better. It's not on McDavid at all. He's been fantastic. They've also gotten really nothing from their bottom 6. They need some secondary scoring to step up. I wasn't going to write all of their bottom forwards on here, but just their bottom 6 in general have not produced anything offensively. So, they've really been bad across the board, except for Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Their first line has basically been good. The McDavid, Draisaitl, Maroon line has been good. McDavid obviously has 17 points. Draisaitl has 11 in 10 games, and Maroon has a decent number too. I think he's at 10 now, 9 or 10 for Maroon. So their first line's been good. Everything else has been a struggle. Their defense as a whole has not been good, and their top defensemen are struggling. Their secondary scoring's been bad, almost non-existent, and their goaltending hasn't been good. So, it's problems across the board for Edmonton, and that's why they're in the position they're in, 14th in the Western Conference. So, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media, Twitter and Facebook. Links are all in the description. Thank you very much for watching, and talk to you guys soon.